injured, one of them critically, after an attack on Ohio State University's campus. It happened this morning. The suspect is dead.
A news conference is getting underway with an update for us on this situation. Let's listen in right now.
To a sidewalk, striking several individuals, and then exited the vehicle with a knife and cut and or stabbed other individuals before being encountered by one of our campus police officers, who commanded the individual to drop his weapon, and upon not following those commands, the individual was neutralized by our officer. The original victims were struck by the car at approximately 9:52 this morning. The officer encountered the individual by 9:53, and the subject was neutralized by 9:53. At 9:55, a campus alert went out for people on campus to shelter in place. First to exit and avoid the circumstances or the place where this all happened, so they learned where it was and were told to run and hide and get away from the circumstances, as we've trained for in desktops and other exercises. They did that. They got to secure places, and then forces from a variety of local law enforcement from our campus community, from our city, and from the state joined us together, and the FBI joined together on campus to sweep the campus to make sure that there was no further threat. And then approximately 90 minutes later, the buildings were released. I have here with me the people who were directly on the scene, and they'll speak in a moment. I just wanted to say that first I had a chance to speak with the officer who was the first responder, and to thank him for following his training and being able to neutralize the circumstances within roughly 1 minute. And also, I was able to visit 3 of the people who were injured, who are here in the hospital, to let them know how much we are praying and supporting them in coming to a complete and speedy recovery. The ones who were here in the hospital were in good spirits. I note that a couple of the people are having more work done, and I think that Dr. Thomas can give you updates on that. But our thoughts and prayers are with them, and we are pleased that no one was more seriously injured, and look for them all to recover completely shortly. Let me move out of the way and give you Monica Mall, who's our Director of Public Safety. Monica?
So just give you a brief timeline of events this morning. That we had at 9:52, the officer involved called out that a car had hit about 7 to 8 pedestrians. This happened at 9:52. He called on the radio into the dispatch center. Again, just a few seconds later at 9:52, the officer called out a call that indicated officer in trouble, that there was a man with a knife. At 9:53, that same officer called out that there were shots fired and that he had one person down. And that is when the officer engaged the suspect. And so the suspect drove his vehicle into a group of pedestrians. There were some injuries that resulted from that. The suspect then got out of the vehicle with a knife and began cutting individuals in the area. And the officer engaged the suspect and fired shots and used deadly force to stop the threat. The threat to safety was ended at that time. Several other law enforcement agencies responded in addition to OSU PD and began to surround the area. We also followed up on other possibilities and other leads that were going on. The Lane Avenue parking garage, there was a rumor that there might have been another potential threat there. That was thoroughly searched, and that turned out not to be true. Would like to share with you today the officer's name, who we all owe a debt of gratitude to. He did a fabulous job today. He is a 28-year-old officer named Alan Harujko. He has been with OSU PD since January of 2015, so not quite 2 years. And the suspect's name, we can confirm that the suspect was an OSU student named Abdul Razak Ali Artan. We do not have any information at the moment on motive. The investigation is ongoing in that regard. You have some information or updates about the patients?
I also want to say, there's several people who are joining me on stage. I'm not going to mention everyone, but I want to say that support we've received from the city, and the city is represented here by Mayor Andy Ginther, support from the state, and our Governor Kasich is with us, and also our representative from Congress, Joyce Beatty, is here this afternoon. I wanted to mention those people, and then have maybe Andy come and give us an update on the status of our patients.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Thomas. I'm Chief Medical Officer here at the OSU Wexner Medical Center. A brief update on the individuals involved in this situation that were both brought here, as well as to 2 other hospitals in the city. We've had 6 total individuals that have either been brought here by EMS or have come in on their own. Earlier today, that number was 5. Since our press conference earlier today, we've had 1 additional victim who was hit by the car, who came in with some musculoskeletal injuries and is currently being assessed downstairs. Beyond that, there were 2 stab victims, 2 other victims of having been hit by the car, and then 1 other victim with some lacerations that we're working on. There are 2 patients that were taken to Riverside Methodist Hospital just north of campus. Both of those individuals were struck by the car. One has orthopedic injury, and the other actually has a minor neurologic injury with a skull fracture, is being observed but is awake and talking and appears to be stable from what I'm told by my colleagues there. There are 2 individuals that were taken to Grant that I mentioned earlier today with lacerations, and then 1 additional patient that has shown up at Grant Hospital who was a victim of being hit by the car, who had an orthopedic injury and has since been discharged from their emergency department. And with that, I'll turn things back over to the
Yeah, I
President.
think maybe Chief Stone has some more specific information about the incident. Chief Stone.
Thanks, President Drake. We have a very elaborate camera system on the campus, and we went back and checked video, and we were able to pick up the vehicle, suspect vehicle, entering campus on Kenny Road and Woody Hayes Drive. And we were able to backtrack and follow that vehicle all the way to the crime scene. So we actually have the vehicle on Woodruff, and we also have the vehicle on 19th before the incident occurred. So I just want to thank all of our officers for the fine job that they do, also our communications people. And by tracking this vehicle down, we could tell that the suspect was in the car by himself. And also I appreciate the response by the city, the county, the state, and our federal partners who are assisting us in this ongoing investigation. Thank you.
I think that's the information. If there is a question or 2.
Are you convinced right now that he was acting alone and not in concert with anyone else anywhere?
Well, I'll let the law enforcement answer that. But
This is an ongoing investigation. I can tell you today that we can prove to you that the suspect was by himself in the vehicle and committed this act by himself today. It's an ongoing investigation to determine motive and if anybody else was involved in this act.
Would you be well with the officer's name as well as the DSL?
Deceased suspect's name, first name is spelled A as in Adam, B as in boy, D as in dog, U as in Union, L as in Lincoln. Abdul Razak, that's R as in Robert, A as in Adam, Z as in zebra, A as in Adam, K. Allie is the next name, A as in Adam, L as in Lincoln, I as in Ida, and then the final name is Artan, A as in Adam, R as in Robert, T as in Tom, A as in Adam, N as in Nora. Abdul Razak Ali Artan.
What have you learned about him so far?
We can tell you the suspect is an OSU student.
Is there any indication that he has been involved in anything terrorist related prior to this?
Ongoing investigation.
And let me also I appreciate that. Let me just ask for a moment. We have the governor and the mayor here. Just would like to say just a word here, and also Congresswoman Beatty. So just come all this.
Governor, what do you have to say to the people of Ohio and here?
Well, look, this morning I talked to Dr. Drake, obviously. I want to thank our first responders who did a remarkable job. I mean, when you think about this timeline, I think from, was it 9:52 to 9:54, it shows how much practice, how much training, how much expertise, and how much coordination has existed with the campus police, the Columbus Police, the FBI, the SRT, which is our special unit at the Highway Patrol, the county sheriff. I mean, there was amazing coordination, and the speed at which these folks were able to come together. Think about what this incident, what this tragedy could have meant. A man with a butcher knife and who knows what else. I don't know what else he may have. Think about driving a car into a bunch of people. Think if you were standing out there, what, the terrible stuff you would see. And fortunately, from what I'm understanding from both doctors here, that they expect a full recovery. So when you think about the students, when you think about the parents, many of whom were, of course, texting and Snapchatting their kids, it is remarkable what these first responders did. I mean, there'll be a lesson for all across America and all the campuses across America about what you do when things like this happen. And as Dr. Drake mentioned, these tabletop exercises are not to be taken lightly. It's the same way we feel about our high schools, our K through 12 schools, all of which need to be taken more seriously by everybody in the field. The other thing I would tell you is I thought about this early this morning, and actually have a goddaughter that goes to school here who got off the plane, heard the situation, actually came to my home. She, I believe, is now returned to campus. This is where I started. I mean, this is where I wandered as an 18-year-old into the president's office. It was a time when I walked into, before we even had the stands out there, Dr. Drake, I remember walking into the Horseshoe and standing at the 50-yard line and looking around at this unbelievable place. I served as an orientation leader. My first big meeting in politics came through Novice Fawcett. The Oval. There's just nothing like the Oval. There's nothing like Orton Hall. This is just an incredible and magnificent place. So when I heard that this morning, of course, I right away thought about the stab wounds, perhaps the gunfire, and we frankly took a piece out of everybody here at our beautiful Ohio State University that this could have happened here. But we are a strong, tough, resilient community. And when we think about, as we like to say now, the Ohio State University, it's just not the students who go to school here that count. It's anybody who ever touched this place, who will think and be affected by what happened today. And we're all going to be extremely, extremely grateful that we're going to have full recovery. And there are going to be a lot of questions about who, why, how, when, all this. I think we have to respect law enforcement and their ability to do their job. The FBI is assisting with local, and the campus police, the Columbus Police are the lead investigators. We're helping at the Highway Patrol with any of the things that need to be investigated. But the FBI has a partnership. They've not taken over this investigation. They have great respect for the work of the campus police and the Columbus Police Department. So we're not going to rush to try to figure things out. I know that's your job. And frankly, it's our job to say, let the investigation take its due course. And at the end of the day, we will find out what happened. We may never totally find out why this person did what they did or why they snapped. We may never find out, but we're going to have a lot more information. And I think I would be joined by Dr. Drake in saying we right now have to have patience. The campus will reopen tomorrow. The campus is calm. People are getting their confidence back. And Ohio State will be stronger having come through this. And we will have learned a lot. And I can promise you, from the president of our university to the people that run security here, They will even up their game beyond what is really just an unbelievable, amazing, and outstanding and heroic performance on the part of our first responders.
Thank you. I'm Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, and let me just say my remarks would mirror all that our governor has just said. Like my colleagues here, I had the opportunity to talk with President Drake and to his governmental staff team earlier this morning. I'd be remiss if I did not thank the medical team and also the multi-agency police force. But let me also add to that the alert system. What was so incredibly unique and life-saving was the alert system that students got that message and they acted appropriately. Those things don't just happen. Let's not take that lightly. To this administration, I say thank you for planning and being prepared, and that's what happens when you have something as awful as this. The students did not overreact. They called one another. I got calls from students, and like the governor, all the places that we saw on TV were very fresh in my mind from spending 4 years here recently as a senior vice president, going in that garage, going by those buildings. So I say thank you to you, President Drake, to you, Andy Thomas, to you, Eric Atkins, and certainly to our police chief and to the mayor and all of your fine officers. And I'm so proud that I can stand here with Chief Jacobs and say thank you for your leadership, and to you also, Dr. Retchen. Thank you.
Andy Ginther, Mayor of the City of Columbus. Today is one of those days you're grateful for good training and great people across the board. President Drake and I had the opportunity to meet with the outstanding young law enforcement officer earlier this afternoon and some of the victims here at the OSU Medical Center. We want to give thanks for outstanding men and women who continue to take on some of the biggest challenges in our communities in law enforcement. It's never been a more dangerous or complicated and challenging time to be a police officer. And we had a dynamic, well-trained professional today save the lives of many of our residents and students. And to the outstanding professionals here and at hospitals throughout our city and the first responders, that when difficult, challenging tragedies take place in our communities, they're raising and running right into the heart of the danger. And so we say thank you to them. You know, Columbus is a very special place, and Ohio State is a major reason why we are so special. And so I ask the people of Columbus to continue to lift up those involved in their thoughts and prayers, the victims, their families, for the collective community. This is a diverse, welcoming, and warm community where we welcome people from all over the world. And that is what makes us so special. And so I ask for everyone to continue to lean in, to pray for one another, to look out for one another, and make sure that we continue to focus on what brings us together as opposed to what divides us. President Drake.
Well, thanks very much. And I think we have a few minutes for a couple of questions. Sure.
Do you have the spelling of the name of the police officer, and also confirm that there was 11 victims total, 6 at OSU, 2 at Riverside, and 3 out of Plant? Is that a total of 11 victims?
That's right.
Correct. There were 6 now total here at Ohio State, 2 at Riverside, and 3 at Grant.
And the spelling of the police officer's name?
And I think
Officer's name is Alan Harujko. Alan is common spelling, A-L-A-N. Harujko is H as in Henry, O as in Ocean, R as in Robert, U as in Union, J as in John, K as in King, and O as in Ocean.
How long have you been on the force?
Since January 11th of 2015.
What was his rank?
He's an officer, police officer.
Chief Jacobs,
Chief
can
Stone,
you say why
talked
there are
about
some
the video.
people outside the suspect house?
Chief Jacob, yeah, do that question first, then we'll vote.
Can you say why there are police officers outside around suspect house?
There's interviews to be had. Talk to anybody that he might have associated with, find out what they knew, waiting on a search warrant to go in and search the property.
Yes. I'm wondering, you talked about video that existed to track the car. Do you have video of the actual event, the confrontation and shooting?
At this time, I have video of the suspect coming on campus and coming to the scene. I have not looked at that video yet, still being investigated.
Were any other weapons found in the car?
Case is still being investigated.
Is the suspect known to any mental or medical staff here at OSU that are valid for this incident?
The only information we can share at this time in regards to the suspect that he was an OSU student.
And how old?
I believe 20. Is that-
How many victims is there? And can you also break out whether they're students or staff here?
So I know that for most of the individuals. So here at the Wexner Medical Center, there was one individual who was a faculty member. There were two individuals who were graduate students. One individual who was an undergraduate student, and I do not know the affiliation of the last individual who arrived. I believe two of the individuals at Ohio Health Hospitals were undergrad students and two were graduate students, and I do not know the affiliation of the third person who's arrived at Grant. Oh, yes, I apologize. And one of them was, who's here at the medical center, is also a staff member of the university in our traffic and parking department, which is separate from the police department, but does similar functions with just traffic and parking.
I'm wondering too, if the chief has determined